All right, we are winding down just around the corner. You can see Augusta, I'm sure, but we're still in Texas and we have the Valero. Welcome back to Putting for Dough here on the OddsShopper Golf Channel. That's Ben Rasa at JazzRazDFS. I'm Eytan Shander at Shander Show. That's how you can follow us. That's how you can track us down. That's how you can talk to us about the show. There's other ways. We'll tell you all about that. But Ben, we have an interesting Dell Tech, of course, match play to look back, but that's just such an isolated incident across the entire tour. It's kind of tough to really, we're not going to go full Matt Kuchar, I'm sure, after last week. Maybe you are, but how are you, sir,
No,
otherwise?
you never want to go full Matt Kuchar. That's a life statement more than a golf statement, but I'm good. I'm good. The match play is just it's one of my favorite events, but it's so dumb.
Yeah.
Not because it's not a dumb format. I love everything about it. I just never, ever do good there. And I thought Rory, this was my time. Cam Young, talked about him on the show. Nope. But you know what? I'm saving it for Augusta. We get a little warm up, a little precursor at a place we're all very familiar with. At least you should be. We come here every year. It's always right before the Masters. I'm feeling good about the Valero.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, normally we spend a couple of minutes reflecting on the week prior, but as Ben mentioned, there really isn't much on a week-to-week basis that you can extrapolate from match play and say, all right, let's look at a guy who's playing, exceptionally well here. So with that said, Ben, let us fast forward this week into the Valero, but we have to remind people, and hey, shout out to a couple of folks last week who took advantage of this fantastic offer that we have here for you, Bet365. We keep telling you Colorado, Ohio, Virginia, New Jersey. Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you that you wouldn't take advantage of this with the book in your state? You have to be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And it's simple. You sign up, you deposit $10, you bet $1, and you'll see $365 come right back into your account. And Ben, as you know, we can do some damage. A little $10 sprinkle here, a little 15, depending on the play. 365. That should load up a golf cart and then some for the Masters.
It's great. It's a great opportunity. Again, New Jersey, Colorado, little Ohio action, Virginia. It's just a cool time to be in those states. Can't say any more than that. Shout out to Bet365. And yeah, I mean, I wanted to get, just if I can, one thing, because you're right. I don't want to relive the match play. I don't, but I will say one thing that I am interested in. Couple guys withdrew late in it, and I not just for Valero, but Hideki comes to mind. Obviously,
Huge.
Will Z, who's not here. Those are a couple of things that I am just scribbling down in the notepad before we do get to Augusta. A couple guys maybe are dealing with some injuries. Fitzy might be the third in that group, and a couple of them are actually in the field this week. Again, Decky is here, so just to keep an eye on some of those guys. Hatton, another one, was shaking out the hand. Maybe there's some issues here.
I actually want to start there if we can. All right. And it's not at the top in the sense of like a traditional top. By the way, Ricky Fowler, 16-1 odds.
What a time to be alive.
We have to talk about that in a
God.
second. But look, I'm highlighting these guys because of what you mentioned as far as, being in the field. And that's it. Of those two, those are the two guys that we really have an eye on. And some of it, Ben, is a little bit, I think, is this week. Like, I personally would not put any money on either of these two individuals based on the hand that we saw with Hatton and the withdrawal that we saw with Matsuyama. I just don't know why you would do that. But I think the bigger question is also how this impacts you for both of these guys with the Masters now, because it's hard to think that whatever it is with both Matsuyama and Hatton is just going to be like, oh yeah, we're good to go. We're going to go out and win the Masters now.
So I definitely think there's kind of two schools of thought here. Number one, to me, this is how I approach it. If it was really serious, they wouldn't be playing in the Valero. Like, they would be getting extra treatment and not touching a club until Augusta. I assume they're going to try to work through and test out before the big time and say, you know what? I think the reality, let's be real. If Ty Hatton or Decky get cut at the Valero, I don't think they're going to be losing sleep. I think they want to go out, work through some things, and see how they play. So for me, it's a pretty simple thing. I'm going to really look how they play this week. I don't have interest in betting them this week, but if they get cut and they seem fine, I don't think it impacts them much for Augusta. I think both could be ready to roll with the right situation.
Decky is the guy that I mean, you and Hatton, it's kismet.
I
Like
love that guy.
exactly. But for me, I want to bet Hideki Matsuyama on stuff, but I'm concerned about the nag more than I am about the definitive this guy is out. And that's, I guess that's really the bigger concern here. All right, let's jump into this here. All right, quick reminder, as you know, we're here putting for dough, so thumbs up, subscribe. We've already given you money at Bet365. Ben has given you a precursor to what could happen with injured guys at the Masters. And what are we asking in return? That you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Are you ready, sir, to look at the top of the board here, which I cannot believe it, includes the tip top of the board includes not your guy, not my guy, our guy.
That's right.
Not this guy. Ricky
Not
Fowler.
Not Charlie Hoffman.
No,
Can confirm.
No, not the Hofster. We'll get to the Hofster.
We will. Ricky Fowler, yeah. I mean, those odds, you see it right there.
Ricky Fowler this week, Ben Rasa. I can't let you.
No, I'm not going to do that. Maybe if he starts slow, I might pick some up. Listen, I think it's pretty clear. I'll get right to it. This is a wide open tournament. There's more value the more we scroll. Up top, I think Corey Connors, I don't love the number. I definitely want to shop it and see if I can find better. But I will say he's got the right combination. You know, you look at what do we need here? We didn't really talk a ton about the course, but we got Bermuda greens. It's pretty long. Attack the par fives. Hard to hit kind of fairways, hard to hit greens at times. Corey Connors has the right temperament. He's got the right, obviously, iron game to do this. Scrambling's not overly difficult at this place. You do have to scramble, but I think he can get away with that. When I look at the leaderboards in years past, to me, Corey Connors type of players can succeed here. So with all the other mysteries up top, him and Siwoo probably my two favorite.
And that's the guy that I wanted to hit on here. Okay. But you brought him up. I think, look, Siwoo is a bomb. And I say that in the best possible way or the worst possible way, which is it's a mixed bag, but it's a familiar place where Siwoo Kim has played well. He has played the course well. You mentioned, I think, everything but one little area here on this course, which is normally, what do we talk about? You have to do this well, you have to do this well, and you have to putt. This might be one of the rare stops on tour, Ben, where you can get away with not being the best roller of the ball on the green. Now, that doesn't mean that Taylor Montgomery is out because he can putt. It just means that the emphasis on guys losing strokes, especially on the green, or not gaining a ton. Now, Del Tech, we saw that, right? The players, we did not. And that, I think you look at the last 4 or 5 events, it is up and down on the green, but there's not as much emphasis. So you could lean on course history here. The only other guy that I'd like to get your thoughts on, and we'll put Siwoo in here, as far as the two guys to look at here at the top, it's just that Montgomery is so damn good at putting, and the field doesn't necessarily require it. I mean, look, you've got Hatton who's banged up. You've got Matsuyama who's banged up. You've got Ricky Fowler. And then, look, I think it makes sense with Connors and Siwoo. You can get a better number for Connors, so shop that. But Taylor Montgomery in this field, with his ability to gain strokes to the field on the green and not killing him off the, striking the ball, it seems like it would be worthy to take a sprinkle at 25-1 in this particular field in this event, knowing, of course, that wind and ball striking is definitely going to make an impact on this game this weekend.
So I get it. I'm not going to push back severely on that. I guess for me, what I would say is that there are a lot of guys that I think you can use that kind of criteria to justify an outright play. And some of them are 60-1, 80-1, 100-1. And it's just like at 25-1, there are guys, right? Chris Kirk, he wins golf tournaments. Matt Kuchar, he's not vintage Matt Kuchar, but he's won a lot of golf tournaments. JJ Spawn's a defending champ. Davis Riley's got loads of talent. I'm just a little shocked. As good as Taylor Montgomery has been, and he's been good, I mean, the guy is, he's got a handful of top 10s in his his young PGA Tour career. Correct. But I'm not completely sold that he should be 25-1 when there's a million other guys who are 50-100-1 in that same bucket.
All right, let's look at,
now he's going to win.
Range. I don't think I can put, that's what I'm saying. Like you have a shot to go top end here, and we're going to have to put a guy like 28-1, 35-1 for a defending champ is the top of the board. Now, if you wanted to stretch that a little bit, that's fine. And I'm with you, but I don't know where the mid-range truly begins for you, but it's probably it's probably like Ryan Fox on one end and then as far wide as you want to go on the other side.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think that's, again, these are the type of guys I want to talk about more. Thomas Detries, 50-1. He just came in top 10 at the Corrales, a week event. But like, he can do it. Bez can do it. These guys are getting double the number. And again, you want to shop all this. We're just using DraftKings
Right.
as the example, but I'm much more apt to say, give me 2 or 3 guys in that 50-1 range. Even a guy like, dare I say, Alex Noren. I like the numbers a lot better in this range than some of those guys who are in the mid 20s that I don't think are that much more likely to win.
Where is just
look at these guys. All these guys to me are in the same, like Ben Martin, Ben Eytan. Where are you going? What have you done?
What I'd like to, I'm just looking. I'm scrolling, and I'm showing you.
Are you trying to find Griot? So I say something dumb?
No, I'm not trying to troll you by any means. Noren is 40-1. All right, so let's take him out and put Detry underneath here. I mean, I think you're right. I think Thomas is probably the better play of these two with the odds at 50-1, especially what we just saw at Corrales, right, where he was hanging. That you may, from a week-to-week basis, be able to take a little bit more from him at Corrales than you would from maybe Matt Kuchar on match play. Is that fair?
Again, I think my larger point is there's legitimately dozens of guys who are relatively new to the PGA Tour that are searching for that first win and have showed flashes that they can do it. Most of them, to me, are not in the 20-1 range, and I would rather attack Bo Hostler and those type of guys at 75-1 than maybe someone who has a little more equity in the 25-1. To me, it's a more value as you go down the board, especially when you can shop these. You can find a varying different numbers out there.
Yeah, I think something that you may want to look at could be just gaining strokes at Valero, right? Like and we'll talk about the guy behind me coming up as far as like maybe extreme value and all that and the long shot element of it. But just hovering here in that 40 to 50 to, maybe 60 or 70-1. If you were looking at, I mean, I don't know, is this too much? Is this now long shot territory to go a guy who is top 10 in the field, strokes gained just overall total in his history here at Valero, but you're getting him at 90-1, even 1,000 higher in Ryan Palmer than you are in Ben Eytan or Ben Martin?
I mean, again, I think you're in the same range as me. We have differing guys within the range, but Ryan Palmer, we know he's a Texas guy. He's been a staple. He's playing like garbage. That's why you're finding this number.
Right.
He has not been good, but historically he comes to Valero and he plays very, very well. I really just think this is a target-rich environment, though. Bo Hostler, Will Gordon, Ben Eytan, Ben Martin, Ryan Palmer. I'm not saying you got to bet all 5, but these guys, to me, even if you want to sprinkle, I mean, look at these top 5 and top 10 odds. You're getting 6-7-1 on some of these guys. I think you have a pretty good shot to land one or more in the first page of the leaderboard.
Yeah, and just looking at this here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove Palmer as a mid-range play. And I'm going to put in somebody that I think fits this course just overall better when it comes to approach around the green. And that's Andrew Putnam at 65-1. Are you okay with that?
So Andrew Putnam, he played last week at the match play and he represented himself very well for a min salary player. Question with him is the same question you're always going to ask. Can he survive off the tee? He's lost strokes off the tee in 8 of his last 10 tournaments. That's going to be his kind of, weak link, his kryptonite. But this doesn't seem like it's only bomber heavy or anything like that. You can get away with not being the strongest off the tee at Valero.
I agree. And I don't think that, I mean, look, the guy has gained in some cases massively strokes on the green. So he's been able to make that up. Now you look back and say, well, other guys are going to get off the tee and there isn't as much stress to make a putt at Valero. So it may even itself out. But I think it's also approach and I think it's also around the green, which haven't been dominant by any means recently. But 3 of his look, the match play is a little different. So I understand that. I'd look at a guy with the fit that's also in that range, that realistic range. If you wanted to stretch this and say, well, let's look at some long shots here, which we can in a second, and open up the conversation of, is Ben Martin at 80-1 better value than Andrew Putnam at 65-1? Probably, but I think I could make that same argument for Thomas at 50-1 for a guy like Ben Martin or Ben Eytan. So I don't think that it's as easy. Like, I think the line, Ben, is pretty blurred between mid-range and long shot here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think all the lines are blurred because a guy like Thomas Detry is not, to me, overmatched in this field by any stretch. And yet he's still, for a guy looking for a breakthrough, towards the top of the board. I know he's not 20-1 or anything, but you have hundreds of guys, it feels like, in that 100+ range. And there's a lot of them that I think deserve. So to me, I've kind of said a long-winded way of saying I will have more bets than usual this week, and they will just be smaller unit allocations because I think it's very wide open. And there's not that one lightning rod of like, okay, this guy's got a 10% chance to win the tournament and a 30% chance to top 10, like when you see Rahm at the top of your board.
Right. So let's look at this here. Okay. So we'll get back to the final card here in a second. But when you look at true long shot value here, and you can build up to it, because you already know where I'm going. I only have one, but I'm going to play him in a way that's not 110-1 for Charlie Hoffman to win the damn thing. Although he does have a win. I just don't like playing him outright at 110-1 because there's a reason why he's sitting there. So we laid out the course. We laid out top guys that we like. We talked about the lines that are blurred between 25-1 to 50-1, all the way up to 80-1. Now, what are you truly looking at as far as trying to identify that massive value for a long shot, which may actually present itself even better in a course and around in a week like this, especially leading up to the Masters in this type of field where so little guys are playing at the top? Sorry.
I don't think there's any doubt. Like, you're telling me who's got a better chance to win? Someone 130-1 at Valero or someone 130-1 at Augusta? I don't think it's even close. It's this week.
Yep.
And there's a lot of guys like that. I'm going to throw out a couple names. First, EVR, who is a mess.
Wow.
Eric Van Rooyen, he's 130-1. And I want to shout out to our partner in crime here. Jeff Ulrich mentioned this actually on Twitter. He was saying that EVR was like 30-1 last week to win at Corrales. Is this field that much worse, honestly? Like, he's 130-1 now.
Oh, my God.
I mean, give me a break. I know EVR has struggled. He's not playing great golf. He did just come in 10th at Valspar. The guy's got wins in Europe against stronger fields than this. Even for Telly, his country, fellow South African right below him, a winner at John Deere, a guy that has shown he can do it. I don't think it's a stretch to think that some of these guys, most of them are going to have 2 quick rounds and an early exit. You're talking 20+1 for top 5s. You're talking 10-1 for top 10s and over 100, 130-1 for outrights. I think this is a range that I could really get on board with these type of players.
Wow.
Come on now.
When you say players, you want me to put Fratelli up there too below
I'm
EVR?
just taking all the South Africans. Give me Bez, EVR, Fratelli.
I mean,
I don't know who else is here. If Jocko Van Zel is in the field, give me him too.
I was going to see if he is, but what would be?
No, he's not.
He's not.
NJ Defoe, maybe he's here. I don't care.
I don't. It's just how bad these guys have been, but you don't really have the course history to fall back on either, do you?
I don't. I mean, we see that a little differently. I'm not a big course history person. I don't think it's really relevant, to be honest.
For a guy like EVR, though, where you're basically asking him to just turn something around at a place that he's not. So I get what you're saying. Like, course history may be different than being a horse for course, right?
Yeah, like EVR has played this event once, and he came in 14th. Sounds good to me. Like, that's great. I'm glad he's been there, but it's you. A lot of times with course history, the problem is you're paying for it. Like, JJ Spawn is a perfect example. Like, great, but you're paying for it. A lot of the past success, you somehow get taxed on that, and it makes it very difficult to extract value.
Yeah, so I'm going to go 10-1 here that Charlie Hoffman just finishes. And let me suggest that you shop. There are plenty of spots that
Yes.
you may not even know that will offer you, like Charlie Hoffman may be 9-1 as far as top 10 at another book, but there's no reduction in winnings as far as a dead heat is concerned. So I don't know how you stand, but I would rather sacrifice that and take him at 9-1, knowing that I'm not going to do a dead heat if 15 people finish tied with him. But it's just, I'm not going to take him at 110-1. I'm not going to take him 22-1. And I don't know how much his top 10 has been devalued, Ben, because of his success here, but we're about a year away. We're a top 10 away for this thing to be renamed the Charlie Hoffman Texas Open. So it's hard to ignore this is a horse for course who is not a great golfer right now. That's pretty much how I would break it down.
Yeah, I mean, you and me, I like the way we were doing this because we just see this totally different. Like you suggested guys like Ryan Palmer, like Charlie, guys who have a decade-long track record of excelling at this type of layout, and even more specifically at this course.
Yep.
I'm kind of going the other way and looking even again. JJ Spawn to me is a great example. The guy won this tournament last year. The 2 previous years he missed the cut. And it just shows you can turn it on and off. And Charlie Hoffman, if he finds his form, it's going to be at a place like this, which is, this is his Super Bowl probably. This is one of his biggest events of the year.
All right, this is it. We'll recap what we have on the slip. Why don't you give us one quick Masters look before we get out of here, okay? But
yeah, I mean, again, so I say the same tip every year, and I think it's important every year. And I'm just going to say this. If your golfer is playing in this event and you think he's going to play well, you should bet him now for the Masters. If it's Ty Hatton or Decky and you think they're going to play poorly at Valero, you should wait. Simple as that, because the odds are going to be overly reflective of what guys do this week. Now, if your guy is sitting out, like if he's Rory or JT or someone like that, I don't think there's any urgency to run to bet them, but like Corey Connors for me is the perfect example. If Corey Connors wins at Valero, his Masters number is going to crater. And that's
yes or no. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes or no, without giving us a name, this will be a tease for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a player in this field that you will be betting on in the Masters?
Yeah, Corey Connors. And furthermore, it's not, I'm going to bet him for the Masters before this tees off because I think he's going to play well at Valero as well.
Awesome stuff. All right, there you have it.
Whoa. What about you? We don't want my nonsense. Are you going to bet Ricky? Just have him go back to back or what? Get him into the Masters, do some things?
No, I'm going back and there's nobody in this. There's
not many
in
guys. They're going to be watching the Masters on TV, most likely. A lot of these guys. Correct.
I am really, really looking hard. And I've been just pushing him as long as he's been healthy. But I need to see what the updated odds are for Jason Day following what happened this past weekend.
Vertigo action, apparently.
Is that what that is?
Well, he said, yeah, I mean, him and Scheffler battled, and they said Day had a little vertigo spins or whatever, but he looks great. Jason Day is back.
Amazing. Yeah, and I got it. We'll talk about this later on because I got him for 2 other majors at a futures ticket a long time ago when we were talking at the start of the year about if he were healthy, and we got him so I wanted to throw those out. That's neither here nor there, though. That's following up. So that's just the one guy I would look at. We'll talk a little more about Augusta, but I just wanted to get your thoughts. That's all.
No, I love it.
Beautiful stuff. All right, that's Ben Rasa at JazzRazDFS. I'm Eytan Shander at Shander Show. Anything else you want to get out besides, of course, to remind people, thumbs up, subscribe. The Bet365 money is right there for you. Ben, what did you do to us?
I didn't do anything.
What did you do to us?
Well,
what the hell?
Good. It's a perfect way to end the show. Look at that. Charlie Hoffman's still in the picture.
As long as Hoffman is still in the picture, that's it. That's how we get out of here.
Okay, beautiful work there, Sparky.
You touched something. I didn't.
I absolutely did not. Maybe I actually did because my mouse is hovering over the wrong thing.
I'm telling you, you flipped over.
Well, a perfect tease. Come back next week for the Masters content and find out what the hell is going on behind the scenes for the production. I cannot wait for Augusta. Again, last thing, if you have any questions, you hit us up on Twitter, you hit us up on Discord. We're going to be in there talking all things golf. Best stretch of golf of the year begins starting now.